It's quite simple. All women are gold diggers, and
Get
all the
out.
men just
Leave.
want short-term relationships, and they want to mess around.
Guys, so today's episode's a little different from our usual episode. We were talking about business, about AI, and how this will help us solve the productivity problems, the efficiency problem. But there's another big problem that we're facing in big cities, especially here in Dubai, which is loneliness problem. Seek for connection. So this episode is solely devoted to relationships, and I have a few friends and experts to help me understand relationships and how we can help this problem. So let me start with Jay. So you're a close friend, and you're one of the most analytical, logical person I know, and you're a serial entrepreneur. When you called me, you're like, Mahmoud, I'm starting a startup on relationships. That was a little bit of surprise for me. Why we want to become a matchmaker?
So thank you so much for organizing this podcast. So I've personally been beset with problems of loneliness over past couple of years. And I've been open to finding a significant other in Dubai. As an entrepreneur and as a very busy professional, it becomes very difficult to find the perfect match. And I realized when I was shopping around for help in this area, I couldn't find anything that catered to my unique needs. And I've been speaking to a lot of people who have similar problems like me. That's when I really got excited and interested about not just the realm of finding the love, but relationships in general. And I got an epiphany, and that was to really try to understand why, despite Dubai coming off as a place which is teeming with singles, you find it very difficult to find the right person. And I then got to know about some interesting insights about, dateability and why there might be a lot of singles, but because of mismatch in expectations, because usually go-to method for a lot of people is to go to online apps. Now, because of the horrible experiences a lot of people in Dubai have with online apps, I thought there has to be something more. And don't get me wrong, dating apps are great. They work for certain group of people, but those are in minority. According to some stats, it doesn't work for 80% of the people, right? So that's when I was really excited and interested about the old school way of, going to matchmakers, people who can understand you as a person, people who understand your weaknesses, your strengths, can work with you to make you aware about your own, shortcomings and your own shenanigans and issues, and guide you along the way to basically find the right person. Because sometimes it's not just about access, it's about what you want. Are you ready? Are you emotionally ready? So that's when we started coming up with the idea of Matchify. And here we are doing this podcast.
So you finally started a company to solve your own problem.
Yes, I did.
It's amazing. Nashwa, what about you? You're a psychologist and a couple therapist. How did you come into this domain?
The first part, which is a psychologist, is something that is related as well to personal experiences and the need in the Arab world. I'm Egyptian, and the knowledge is coming into to a great extent when it comes to the mental health in general. It is a bit limited, and or at least like 10 years ago, it was very limited, and people were not like believers in this. And to a great extent, to find the right help whenever you have the ups and downs in life is a big challenge for you to find the right person. And the access to information as well was very limited to, especially the knowledge is all in English in a way or another. So an Arabic speaker that is really looking for the right information in Arabic was a challenge. So this was one of the reasons why I started my master's degree at that time, not thinking that I will really work full-timer like a psychologist in the future, but I thought, let me get it right, like through proper learning, and I have the language, so I can be the mediator in giving the right information in Arabic for people, and let's see how things will go. And then I started to have the profession as a psychologist and therapist. And from this perspective as well, I realized something. Regardless of the disorders or the things that are related to depression and anxiety, and whether you have this, you have that, it turned out to me that relationships are the core thing that drives everything. And here I'm not, like you were saying, like it's not just about the relationship between a significant other, it's relationships in general. Everyone is coming to me in a way or another if they are complaining about a severe mental issue or they are just having a life transition. It lands to a relationship problem with a parent, with a child, with a significant other to a great extent. So one of the core concepts that I use, along with other modalities for sure in my work as a psychologist, was related to how to integrate the work on relationships, attachments, how to create healthy connection, because we, as human beings, we're not built to live alone. We are built to live with other people. So it makes, it's very important to learn how to create this connection. And then I realized the need for, or the interest into like, couples are different when it comes to as type of relationship, because some other relationships, they are very structured in a way that there is authority, there is a parent, there are certain expectations, he's my son, she's my daughter. But when it comes to partners, the dynamics are different. The structure is not there. And it is built by the couple. So it was very interesting thing for me to like explore this part about couples. And from there, I started to like increase my knowledge when it comes to like having certification and working on this aspect. But it is much harder to work with couples than working with individuals, I can tell you.
Oh, really? And I say that the success rate for couples therapists is not that high, or no, not really?
It is not that high.
Okay.
Yeah. Not necessarily because of the problem with the couples therapy as a model, or because there are several modalities when it comes to couples therapy. The problem is people most of the time, they seek help at the end of the relationship.
Okay. Yeah.
I can tell you that like I have 100% of my clients, 1% I can tell maybe in the past year that came to me because they would like to have a good relationship. They don't have really
that's a good
serious
idea.
problems. So 1 in 100. But the rest are coming because they were thinking about divorce for the past 5 years, for example, or they are like had 3 breakups before, and this time is the last chance. So that's why the idea is of like the low rate is significant in a way or another.
Chris, you lived in multiple countries. What do you think the biggest misconception in dating in Dubai that outsiders have?
Personally, I think every major city has people have trouble finding love in every major city in the world. Between New York, they go, oh, it's so hard to find love in New York. And then I hear the same thing in Dubai, and then I hear the same thing in LA, and then I hear the same thing in Lausanne. It's just when you're in a really fast-paced environment, everybody is rushing, especially when they're around the ages of, I would say 20. I think they're more about playing and just figuring out where their fields and how their footing is in their life. And then once they get into their 30s, they're really focused on their careers, right? Once they get into their 40s, that's when they want to start settling down. I guess for men mostly. Women, it's mostly in our mid-30s, I would say. Maybe I'm just a late bloomer, I don't know. But I really do think that it's not a Dubai problem. It's every major city problem. You'll notice that people, I guess, are more settled down in slower paced environments, you know, right? I mean, that's what I think.
What do you think is the misconceptions that people have dating in Dubai? I know a lot of ladies that want to come here and marry rich, and that's it.
It's quite simple. All women are gold diggers, and all the men just
Leave.
want short-term relationships, and they want to mess around.
That's
the biggest misconception. It's always the same sort of trope that you hear every day, day in, day out between men and women. It's the same thing.
So it's 100% not accurate?
It is accurate to an extent,
Okay.
but also it's a projection. A lot of men do make that projection, and that sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And similarly for women, it's the same thing. The woman says that she's not a gold digger, yet she responds to gold digging type habits, right? Why do you get attracted to men that offer you shiny things and take you to fancy places? Why do you not reject that, right? And similarly for the men, why are you attracted to women that clearly are going for those things as well? So it's, you know, it's both their faults.
So Jay, now you're looking love in Dubai. Why do you find it hard here?
That's an interesting question. I think, as Chris was saying, it's the fast pace of the city, maybe construed expectations. The fact that, I mean, for a person like me, it's very hard to find the time. You know, it's a laborious process. You have to, you know, find the right person, and you got to, you know, show up on the dates and do the work, as we say. So it's multifactorial, I would say. Dubai poses specific challenges in that there is the demographic part of it as well, because there are simply more men than women here. We often miss this biggest challenge, right? So this demographic challenge, coupled with the fast pace of the city and the fact that everybody's simply too busy here, I think that is what goes into the frustrations that a lot of people face when it comes to finding love.
And then we spoke about this, which is people come here to Dubai, want to make money, and then they make a little bit of money, and after a certain age, they want to get married, but we don't have the skills to find the right partner. Is it a common thing that you find here? We're very busy to find a partner, or no, we're just special?
It depends on expectations and how and why are you coming here to Dubai. So as we were saying before, that a lot of people, single people that are moving to Dubai, they are moving to have to sort of create independence, to have financial security, to have a new start in a safer place, or to have a future in a way or another. And some people, so if we just separate between people that are coming here as families, and those are out of the equation. So the majority of people that are coming as independent single people, ladies and men, are in a certain age. And the majority of them, you will find them based on what I see in the clinic, for example, that they are in their early to mid 30s or more than that, definitely afterwards. So they start moving here at that age. And at that age, the main focus is let me build myself in this new city. And it depends, what are you running away from? Are you running away from your family restrictions, your culture? Are you trying to find a better place to settle in? And this, I thought at the beginning when I moved here that this just applies on the people that are coming from conservative backgrounds, like from the Arab world, from Pakistan, from India, from certain countries. And then I realized when I started to see people that a lot of people from Europe or from the States, from Australia, they are running away as well from the normal life. They are seeking something different. So it takes them a little bit of time to settle down and start to create this sort of a stable life in a way or another. Once they reach this point, if they are not with partners already, if they have partners back home, the relationship is toast, it's over, because it's very long-term relationships. I haven't seen it working with any of my clients or in my personal life before. But they are starting to search for someone at a certain age. And there is a certain level of independence. And so what are you looking for? Are you looking for just having fun? To a great extent, again, from my own experience at work, that people in that age are not looking for fun. They are looking for settling with a partner, regardless of the shape of the relationship. They are looking for partnership, companionship. They have the financial independence. They have the stability. They have created themselves. They have a strong value system. They have moved from what they had in their home countries, and they had their own start. They have their own homes. They have everything at that stage. So they just need a partner. And it is pretty hard to find this partner here.
So Dubai is a very transient city, and we see it in business where people come 2 or 3 years, they go away. So they don't have a lot of loyalty for certain brands or companies. How does being a transient city affect long-term connections?
This applies, in my opinion, to all relationships. A lot of people are coming here, even with their families. They struggle to find long-term relationships, even with people that they have been seeing and meeting on a weekly basis for years. Once they move their job, they don't know one another anymore. Once they move their apartment, they don't know one another anymore. There is this vibe that we don't have to connect so much as long as we don't have a reason right now. Because I'm not sure how long am I being here, staying in this country, and how long are you going to stay as well. So let me not create very strong ties at this point, and I'm not going to invest so much. If it is something that is making me happy right now, if this is something that is taking away my loneliness, let's be it. Let's meet this weekend for paddle tennis or something like that. But if it is not, if I need to really invest in the relationship, I will always have a question mark.
Yeah, it's like they always leave their options open because there might be something better or another thing to do with someone else. It's just, I guess this is one of the things that Dubai does, right?
And to a great extent, based on experience. I know people who they have already created, for example, a group of friends. And then out of a sudden, they are coming 2 years after to therapy again, saying that I lost them all. They all traveled. Right now, I need to recreate a new friend group or people around, and I'm tired of doing this.
How are you guys in Matchify approaching dating or matchmaking differently?
We are tackling a few of the problems that dating apps have not been able to solve, or there's a misalignment. The incentives are not there for dating apps to solve those problems, right? Dating apps promote superficiality. It's all about looks, and while looks are very important,
Yes, looks matter,
but they are not the only factor, right? Sure. So these apps blow that fact out of proportion, and the algorithms are designed in a way to keep you hooked. If you match, you're off the app and they lose a customer, right? So incentives are not aligned. Matchmaking, it's a slower approach. It is more nuanced. It goes into depth and sees every person as different. So, for example, I'll give you one example. So these dating apps solve the problem of accessibility. You have got these potential partners which are more accessible, and that is true. They've solved that problem, right? But they haven't been able to solve the problem of, for example, confidence. So I had we did this event, a singles event, and I have a coworker. He works for my company, and this guy is amazing looking, very attractive, good salary. He wants a partner. He has failed in dating apps. And when I ask him, listen, maybe you want to go and meet people in real life. And
that's scary, man.
Yeah. And I said, well, listen, I'm hosting this event. Why don't you show up? There's going to be plenty of amazing women there. You'll get a chance to talk to them. He said, Jay, you don't understand. My problem is not the access. It's I don't have the confidence to talk to anybody. So
you'd be surprised.
So apps don't solve that problem, right? And sometimes you're not ready. Emotionally, you're not ready. You have underlying fears that they are stopping you, right? And you're not aware of those challenges. So we want to provide that value proposition. I mean, we believe that it's a slow process. We remove the choice overload, right? So we believe in quality, not in quantity. We will soon be onboarding people like coaches, like relationship coaches, and people who can help people understand themselves, their problems and challenges. And I believe before you go and look for a partner, you need to look inwards first. Mm-hmm. Yes. You really need to see who you are as a person, what do you value, and you should most probably, and I know it's a very contentious area, what should be the matching criteria? Is it interest? Is it values? Is it the looks, or the guy has financial stability? It's still very mystified. So we want to do something to demystify all of those things. Still early days for us, right? So yeah, focus on quality, rather than quantity, anti-swiping, a lot of help, coaches, courses, on-demand courses, tools. You have personal matchmakers in real life events. And we also want to include a lot of science and let people also be more aware of when they're making wrong choices. Because a lot of us are stuck in, having very, unhealthy expectations, right? And how do you have healthier expectations when you're aware about it? So yeah, these are some of the things we are trying to incorporate in Matchify's mission.
I'll give you an example of both extremes that we have. And we were having a conversation about this the other night. This woman is in her 60s. Her children are out of the nest. Her husband and her ex-husband and her are divorced. And they're on very good terms. Financially, she's completely secure and independent. Didn't take a single dime from him when he left. She built herself from the ground up. And now she's just looking for someone as a bonus. Without him or with him, she's happy. And then you have the other extreme. They're coming out of abusive relationships. They're afraid. They don't know who to talk to. They don't know. When they tell me about what they're looking for, I have to sit and go, girl, you have unhealthy expectations. And we need to fine-tune what it is that you want, because I understand that you think you're a high-value woman, which is a term everyone is on social media saying today. But are you really? Really, you have to, just like Jay said, you have to look at yourself with complete openness and honesty. What is it that you want from yourself before you can offer it to someone else? No one's going to like you more than you like yourself.
By the way, it's the single most important decision in your life. You're sure you want to do it as casually as in a minute or a day or two? I mean, just imagine, you and I both know how incredibly hard it is to build businesses and startups, and things of value. Relationships also need a lot of time, care, and attention.
It's an investment.
Right? It is an investment. And it takes sometimes, the more you value something, the more you're likely to attract the right thing. I mean, that's what I believe.
Like what you said, Dubai is very transient. I tend to believe that people now come to Dubai and they want to stay. They don't want to leave, at least not in any time, like in the next 3-5 years, because it's growing and a little bit out of control. But what I do find is that women are having a much harder time getting involved in committed relationships here for a multitude of reasons. But one of them is, like what you said also, Nashwa, a woman in Dubai would never, ever, ever get into a relationship with somebody outside of Dubai, unless that person will decide to move to Dubai and to set up shop here. Especially if the woman has a career here, she's got her life set up, her community set up. Dubai is the best place for women in the world, period. In terms of lifestyle, community.
Sorry, I'm cutting. Do you mean Dubai, or do you mean also Abu Dhabi and Sharjah and all of these surrounding areas?
La, Dubai specifically. Dubai specifically. So that being said, she's now limited her demographic for the dating sphere to Dubai, pretty much, because that is, her best chance of staying in this city and continuing that lifestyle that she wants to have, which is a fantastic lifestyle for women. It's just amazing. I think we all could agree on that. So this is one of them among many other issues. I don't know if Chris, if you have any other, based on your chemistry calls with women, what types of issues that women are also facing here for dating?
Yeah, and what are they saying about men here?
Don't worry, I got you. I know why you give out stuff.
I'm curious.
No, but seriously, the ones that are, you know how many people I've spoken to? Maybe I've had, I would say, about 200 calls since we started this. This is a baby company after all.
Yeah.
And we have the types of, there are so many incredible women on this in my database. There are some incredible women. Some of them that are so ready to get into a relationship.
Ahmed have incredible men as well.
Huh?
Ahmed have incredible men. What's the problem then?
The thing about the men that we onboard is, you know how much time it takes us to seep through these people. It's a very long filtering process, because it's easy for them to just sign up. For women, it's free. We charge the men because maybe you can help attest to this. Men tend to use, maybe you can too, men tend to misuse platforms because they think it's a playground where they can just, go have a quick in and out. I'm done. Thank you very much. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and it's done. And this is why we charge the men, because of the investment that they're going to be paying in order to find someone that we took our time getting to know. We verify their backgrounds. We make sure that they're in it for the right reasons. When we also verify their backgrounds, we check if they are married, if they have kids. We check if they are really who they say that they are. We even go as far as checking out their social medias. And that's how we know, we try our best to know if these women can work with a man like that. So when we are cross-matching our database, I'll say, I'm looking for somebody for this lady. And we don't show pictures, because showing the pictures...
What's wrong with the picture?
Because it's not about the looks. It's about the values.
As a guy, looks matter.
Maybe in the beginning.
That's true.
Maybe in the beginning. You know what? I was married to one of the most handsome men I've ever met in my whole life. The marriage didn't last more than 6 years. Do you know why?
No.
I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is not because he stopped looking handsome to me. It's because our values very simply didn't align. And it's true. My ex-husband is still very handsome, but I stopped being attracted to someone who is attractive. And I was not
Attraction isn't a choice. Yeah, it's not a
You're going to
choice.
show me a picture later. You're going to show me a picture later.
Look, physicality is quite important, right? But then we focus on so many other criteria. So, for example, there are lots of men today, especially in sort of, late millennial and the Gen Zers, that would not want to front the entirety of the costs of actually running the relationship, right? The man would want a woman to also help and contribute as well. Some women, especially in Dubai, would outright refuse that. Yeah, sure, he'll pay on the first few dates, but afterwards, when it comes to getting married, he'd be like, hey, listen, I need some help with the rent, I need some help with DIWA bills and stuff like that. A lot of women will say no. Now, wouldn't you like that to know that from the get-go?
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Or, and this is a big issue right now in the West, which I don't know why till date they haven't resolved it yet. Why not discuss whether you want a prenup in the beginning of a relationship?
Spoken like a true lawyer.
Not
like a true lawyer.
after 2 years. But it's not even like lawyerly. It's just like, it's
got you.
so logical, right? Oh, because I'm afraid she's going to leave. Well, she's going to leave you anyway.
Isn't it
regardless.
pretentious, though, like in the beginning to say, I want a prenup, okay, I'm very wealthy?
Well, look, I mean, you're negotiating terms basically when you're starting off the relationship, right? You're saying, okay, well, is this going to work long term? So let's negotiate terms now so that we can then focus on attraction, romance later. Not so that we can get attracted and romantic with each other and then get our hearts broken because these other criteria haven't been fulfilled.
Let me try to get Nashwa back in.
Yeah.
So my parents met through neighbors, through relatives. Dating apps tend to prefer the top 10% of guys.
The algorithm.
Yes, they failed a lot of people. And our friends here are trying to do a matchmaking company. What are your thoughts? Is that the right approach? What the things that they will do wrong, for example?
The thing is, it depends on the intention. I heard the conversation about what are you looking for? Is it the looks? Is it just because of the loneliness? Is it because you just don't want to like stay during Friday, just for Friday? I need someone to go out with. So it depends on the intention. If your intention is just to go out with someone for this weekend because I don't want to be alone or I want to have fun, this is a direction. And if you are really looking for someone to really know and to start a relationship, and you are looking for the outlet, so it's sort of a channel at the end. So it's sort of, maybe in the past, in certain countries, there people used to have like the traditional, in Egypt, we used to have the traditional matchmaker. She was a real lady that is in in small cities, when she knows everyone in the neighborhood, and she knows how to like, your daughter, like she can fit this guy and this and that. So it used to be a profession in the past. And after that, people started to use other ways. Because of that, they started to see one another at work and universities. And And right now, unfortunately, with this openness, it's getting harder to find the best match or to find the best person for yourself. And here is the intention is different. I'm looking for a match. I'm not looking for one day out just to have fun and eat dinner with a good-looking guy or a good-looking lady. So it depends on the intention. So if I'm looking for someone that I can explore, and here we need to be very clear that whatever the channel is, we can never guarantee that this is going to work. Because for sure that there are a lot of things that people need to discover on their own, and they will discover on their own with their own, like once things get better. But the difference is, are you going to go and start to figure out or to find someone in like a stadium when they are like 1 million people and 100 of them are talking to you, like some of the applications like the dating apps, the majority of them are looking for just the casual relationships? Or are you going to look in a small pool of people that are at least having the exact same intention? So it is about limiting or having like fine-tuning the intention when it comes to people that are approaching such channels. And let's be realistic, everything is online these days. And yes, we are talking about Dubai in specific, but I have seen and heard a lot that is happening in Egypt, for example, and in other countries where like it's like more conservative and there people are around and they are from the same culture, similar values, from the same social standard, and it is very hard for them to find the right person. So dating apps are or they call them like marriage apps. So it is more of like a sort of a fine-tuning of the process, because dating apps are there and a lot of people are on them, but they are not having like the good repetition when it comes to like, why are you going there? Are you looking for a real partner to explore the relationship with or not? So this depends. So creating different channels, like this channel can be great for people. At the end, in our profession, we respect everyone is having his own journey and no judgment whatsoever. So I'm not here to say that this is the right way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it, as long as it aligns with your own values, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. Aside from my own perception, aside from my own life decisions, I can disagree totally with what you're doing, but it's not my place. I'm here just to make sure that you're going in your direction. But if your direction is to try to find the right person, a long-term relationship, someone to really explore a commitment, companionship with, and the direction that you're taking is going into like dating on a Friday night, I have to help you out to say that, no, this is not the right direction.
Yeah,
maybe you need to go somewhere else.
It's about you, it's not about her.
Yeah. And another thing, when we were talking about like the other aspects other than the looks, because even in short-term relationships, they make a big difference with people, and like creating this connection. Sometimes we're just going in a date and it turns out that we can work together in the future, or to start friendship, or just to connect. So not necessarily I'm going there, especially with dating apps, for this direction. But when it comes to creating a future together, we have in our practice, for example, a program. It's called the Premarital program, or like for people that are considering commitment in life. And a big part of this program is sitting and talking about the financial aspects, because I can tell you, based on my experience, I see couples that are married for 6 and 7 years, and the financial disagreements is still a problem in their relationship, and they are referring to times when they were just dating, that we didn't have a chance to agree who is going to pay the bills. And we struggled for the past 6 years into like setting rules, because it is not about being greedy or that I am responsible financially. It's about what can work for us and other values as well, that it is not just about what you can see from the surface. There are other things that are much deeper in such needs, like the agreements about roles and responsibilities in the family, and parenthood. Whether are we planning to build a family and have kids or not, and what is your plans for retirement, for example, or this or that. A lot of these aspects, if people they don't have a chance to explore early in their relationships, unfortunately, they struggle with it throughout the relationship afterwards. So navigating through such aspects, even just touch base, just not necessarily to go deeper, because it is their responsibility afterwards to sit together and agree. But if it is supposed to be part of the criteria of the selection, or like at very early on, because it as you were saying, that we realized after 6 years that our values are not the same. It didn't happen out of a sudden. Sometimes there are changes that take place, but sometimes we just assume
or
that
sometimes I
we're
was
similar.
just blinded by the fact that he was so dreamy at the time. No, I'm serious, because when I'd known this guy my entire life, and I'd always wanted, and I had put an objective in my mind, and I went for it, and I did not think of the values. Even my cousin, I said, we got a divorce. And she said, you didn't know? How did you not know from the beginning? Did you just realize this one day? So, La, you're right. From the beginning, we didn't have the same values.
So let's say I've been dating this magnificent lady for a year, but I find it very uncomfortable talking about money. Any advice?
You have to.
Oh,
The advice is, it is part of life. I can tell you this very simple example that we tell our clients in couples therapy whenever they come, and they are start to, like, during the first session, they start to, like, say things and like about their conflicts, about their problems, and how trivial their problems are. Yeah, it is, to a great extent, at the beginning at least. And they start to talk about very silly things like that. Whenever we fought yesterday about, like, the TV remote control, because I wanted to watch this Netflix a series, and he wanted to watch this, like, whatever, Game of Thrones or whatever, something else. And whenever you dig deeper, no problem whatsoever is about how it looks from the outside. It's about something else much deeper, and it is related to either a baggage that you're carrying from childhood, things that you used to see your parents or other people in your family, like they are, like, deeply having conflicts about.
Totally agree
And
with what you're
these
saying.
things are most of the time about financials, connections, responsibility. So most of the time, I'm afraid that he's a selfish guy. He wants to watch this series and he doesn't let me watch this other one. It is not about watching this right now, but it's about, oh my God, how did I get this guy? This looks exactly like my uncle. And he's a horrible man in his 60s right now. He's very selfish. Or that, oh my God, this person is irresponsible. He's doing this and that, and this is like a sign of his irresponsibility. So sometimes whenever we have deeper conversations, you realize that it is not coming from irresponsibility. He might still be a responsible person, but he cannot articulate it in a way, or you didn't express that you're afraid that he will turn to be irresponsible in the future because of this baggage. So sometimes clarifying such things, that it is not a matter that I want you to, like, I had a couple, and they are getting divorced right now. And one of their problems, they used to have a problem for a very long time, but out of a sudden, the main problem that created this whole divorce thing is that he asked her to pay for a shipment that she had for, like, a very small thing, for 200 dirhams. Or something like that.
It's about principle.
Reality, yeah,
Something clicks.
Yes, and then when we were discussing this, you had plenty of other problems, and this guy is not. He's a giver. He was taking care of you for a very long time, and she said that no, for me. My dad never said that to my mom. And if someone will, and this is not just the first time, that I realized over the years that he is not taking care of me. And it's not about the 200 dirhams. It's about the separation, that you have your money, I have my money, you're supposed to spend on this, I'm supposed to spend on that. In such cases, if they have very clear conversation from the beginning. Maybe it is not, the problem is not like that I would like to separate. It's about that I cannot afford it. That you don't understand it.
How do we say that so that I want Jay to understand this?
What was the question really about, actually, when you say you want to talk about money?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
No, interesting to know how will we see the future. For example, as an Arab guy, I like to provide. My money is our money, her money is her money. So this kind of conversation as a guy, I never really was comfortable talking about money. Even with my family, as I'm always the one to pay. It's easy for me.
Sure. So why talk about it?
Why talk about it?
Yeah, why talk about it?
You said something to me last week that it stayed with me.
Yeah.
There's something Ahmed said to me last week. He said, as a man, and it wasn't sexist at all. It could be misinterpreted as sexist, but I really loved it. Ahmed said, between me and my wife, I never tell her about what's going on at work. It's not my job to put pressure, was it that you said? Pressure on her. I never talk to my wife about finances. Yeah, work was good. It's not my job to put more pressure on her or to put more trouble on her shoulders. It's fine. Whenever it's done, then maybe he will talk to her about it. But he never really troubled her with it. And I loved that. It stayed with me since you said it to me last week.
Why should you add insecurity to her life in that sense?
That's why women have to be gold diggers sometimes, or have to play the role of the gold digger. And I swear, living in Miami myself, you want to talk about gold diggers, go to Miami. It's all over. But women look for security, I think. Maybe you can agree or disagree. For me personally, it's about, if I'm going to be with someone, in Lebanese we'll say, I don't want him to give me, I don't want to trouble him with my problems, and I want to tell him what happened and how I solved it. But to trouble him with more on his plate, and for him to trouble me with more on my plate, unless we're trying to figure it out together, I don't think there's a purpose for it.
I tend to a certain extent, from my professional experience, to disagree with this to a certain extent. Not necessarily, we don't have something like 100%. Like people are different when it comes to their expectations. And definitely, it is not healthy in a relationship that we are always depressed and trying to put our depression on the other person. We're not supposed to be stressed and put our stress on the other person all the time. But I can tell you from my professional experience that I have seen plenty of couples that are having problems because of the lack of communication about challenges in life. That the wife is coming every single session to therapy, and she is complaining about that he's not hearing me, he's not listening to me, he's not engaged. We went in this trip and he's absent. He was on the phone throughout the night. He is so focused in work. And when I have the individual session with the guy, he's being laid off from work. He is having 1 month to decide how is he gonna cover for his family for the coming period. He is having rent coming soon, and he is supposed to pay for it. And I am the one who knows, and his wife does not know. And this was our conversation during our individual therapy session. Why not to tell her? If you will start to express to her the position that you are in, not necessarily to burden her so much, but she should understand that this is not neglect.
I think for these significant milestones, you have to inform your better half that these things are happening. But we're talking about sort of day-to-day issues. Like there's ups and downs in business all the time. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money, right? Lots of risks that happen for men. And the whole idea is what we're talking about when it comes to money, is that for us not to be emotionally phased by it, and to also distract the emotional sort of discourse between you, your family, your wife, your kids, taking out. How many times my dad took out his frustrations and all of the issues or cases that he's lost, whatever, on me, right? Things that I've never had as a child. I had no involvement with his work, but he took it out on me. That's wrong. That's what we're talking about, right?
He's also a lawyer.
So we put that basically a hold on that. So that's it. Money, or discussion over money doesn't enter the home. However, if we're going to have to leave the house and move to Sharjah because we need to make ends meet, well, of course, I'm going to have to let my wife know, right? But that's
yeah,
it.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But there is a big difference between sharing and displacement, or that I'm very frustrated, I'm very angry, and I will start to act out on you. This is one thing.
So this is exactly it.
Yeah. In comparison to, I am trying to share with you my own challenges, because once your significant other, in specific, I'm not talking about kids for sure, is aware that you have certain struggles, actually, this is creating connection. This is creating better understanding. How many hours are you working during the day?
I love
so
you
if I was just gonna push all of this away and return back home, zero conversations about work, I have nothing to talk about. And the other person will start saying that he's disconnected, he's detached, he's not involved in the family, he's not involving me in his life, while he has a lot to say, but he doesn't have a space to do it because he's...
So I invoke the card of I disagree to an extent also, because just because you go back home and you don't want to communicate certain challenges to your wife does not mean that you have nothing to say to her. You share so much between you and your better half. You don't necessarily have to share your work challenges or certain experiences that you've had during the day. You have other friends and other communities that you can share those experiences with, such as communities where you play paddle tennis together, or friends that you've had from high school, right? You can share it with people that you have at work. That's a community. Or your partners. Now Jay's my partner, so I can share it with him. Or family. I don't have to share everything with my wife. I personally don't believe that I need to. She doesn't have to be my best friend of all time, and without her I cannot move on. No, it's not like that, right? She's fantastic, and she plays a great role in my life as a spouse and a mother of my child. But I also have friends where I share experiences with them too. I don't feel like, just because I shared with them and I don't share it with her means I got nothing else to say, and therefore, our relationship is going to go down the tubes. That's my opinion.
But
so we agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But also, I think we can see it from the lens of individuals. I think it's not. Some people want their partners to talk about money, others don't, right? So, for example, my first marriage fizzled out because my wife was very distant from what I was doing at work, and for me, I didn't feel that I was heard, right? Connection is very important, and you need certain things to build that connection, right? It's not just physical companionship, it is also sharing in. So I think it's an individual need. While, both of you might be right on your own accord, I think it's important what works for that couple, right? There are certain people, for them, this might work, and for some, this might not work. So I think this is a part of conversation that couples should have with each other, right? To understand each other's needs better. And those needs vary. They vary based on individual preferences. Humans are not atoms. They act and behave very differently. And every behavior needs to be understood, right? So, and by the way, Nashwa, I was curious. People come to you when they have strain in relationships. They go to couples therapy. I was like, why don't people go to psychologists before they get into a relationship to be better equipped to know what they should or shouldn't do? Because, if I want to go and play a game, I should, or participate in a race, I would better learn how to drive.
Right.
Why do we assume that people know how to do relationships? I think perhaps the field of psychology needs to do better marketing, right?
Yes.
Because I think there's a lot of demand. People,
Agreed.
if it's sold in the right way, people would want to come and talk to about, hey, I'm getting into the relationship. What should I do to have a healthy relationship?
Why isn't it implemented in schools and education?
I just let you respond, and we need to end the episode because we're out of time. But you mentioned that it's better for couples to come early in the disagreement, not at the tail end.
Yeah. And for individual work as well, we have plenty of people that are approaching therapy early in relationships from an individual perspective, or they're coming out of breakups, or they have certain patterns of relationships that they are annoyed by, or they are hurt from. But most of the time, unfortunately, people will not come whenever they are just exploring. They will come whenever they are in pain. So this is the problem.
I think
Then it
is-
will come that, okay, I had a breakup and I'm suffering. I don't want this to happen again. Or like, I'm looking for someone and I couldn't find a partner. How can I manage my loneliness? They're not coming happy and saying that, help me out to build the image of a good partner. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
And I still have so many questions, but one thing I learned from this episode is I should communicate more. So that's one. But Jay, can you just look at your camera and where the people can find you? Anything that you would like to promote? Anything, what exactly is Matchify?
Yeah, they can go to matchify.a. They can look up Instagram, go matchify.a, and they can find us and they can reach out.
Nashwa, how about you? How can people find you? How can reach you out before things get really bad?
I'm actually the founder of Nafsology Psychology Center here in Dubai. So they can go on Instagram or Nafsology Psychology Center or nafsology.ae, and they will find myself and other amazing psychologists and sex therapists and couples therapists that can help them out.
I'm going to include all these links in the show notes. Thank you so much for making the time, guys.